Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And can I ask that you do hit the like and subscribe button right at the beginning of the video here, because again, we're having this problem with YouTube unsubscribing people unknowingly. We've seen it, and there's people commenting in there and saying this is happening. So do please check that. And if you are yet to subscribe, now is an excellent time. There's a lot going on, and we do, of course, have an election coming up soon at some point. Don't want to miss them. Anyway, we're going to take a look at this story here because it's about Jamie Hepburn and his movement from the independence role, which I've now got rid of. We can finally discuss it now that I've done the full cabinet video. Because whilst he's still in a job and still earning a full ministerial wage, there are people that are rather annoyed that the actual position of independence minister has been removed, taken away and discarded. They're saying it does deserve to have an individual place. I don't think it does, because independence is not a thing. They haven't got anyone to vote for it yet. They've never managed it. And why should the public, most of whom don't agree with independence, be forced to pay a salary for a minister of independence? Seems perverse. Although it is the SNP, you should be used to things like that. So we'll take a look, see who's complaining, see why they're complaining, and see why they're wrong. Let's take a look. So senior SNP MP swipes at John Swinney for scrapping the Minister of Independence. A big job that did nothing. Nothing for anybody. It was a pointless role. Never going to get it. It was an unachievable role. How can you have a Minister for Independence when first, you haven't even got the referendum? Secondly, even if you had the referendum, you'd lose the referendum. It's a waste of time, effort and money. And all he did was sit there and go, oh look, just spent a load of money on a brochure that nobody's going to read. A senior SNP has had a swipe, or a senior SNP MSP, I think they mean, has had a swipe at John Swinney after he scrapped the Minister for Independence from the Scottish Government. Alan Smith said having Jamie Hepburn solely focusing on the independence brief was really effective. No, it wasn't. How could it possibly be effective? It was impossible for him to do his job. He could not in a million years be effective. Till you got that referendum, it was never a thing anyway. And even after you had the referendum, it still wouldn't be a thing because you'd lose it. Effective. What a load of bollocks. Anyway, the role of Minister for Independence was created by the previous First Minister, Humza Yousaf, when he appointed his team last year. Oh, such a short time ago, and now he's gone. Hepburn, the only person to ever held the role, will now take over from George Adam as the Minister for Parliamentary Business. George Adam, of course, can now go off and spend more time coiffuring his hair. When asked about the role being axed, Smith told the BBC's Good Morning Scotland programme, I'm not privy to John's thinking on that. He's thinking now? When did that happen? The Westminster Group had a meeting with John yesterday, which was a good chance to chew the fat about where things are. Well, down the toilet, up a gum tree, up shit creek. That's what they are. When asked if Swinney mentioned in the meeting he was going to scrap the job, Smith said no. Those discussions were internal anyway, but we had a discussion about him about such matters. He said, I can only speak personally, but my view personally is that having Jamie Hepburn as the Independence Minister was really effective to focus government on getting the Independence white papers out the door. Why? Are you thinking that those white papers are in any way real? Do you think that they have any bearing on reality, on what would happen? And if in 30 years, somehow, magically, independence was a thing all of a sudden, you think those white papers would be in any way relevant? Times change, people change, the world changes. Hell, the way it's going, there might well not even be here in 30 years. Anyway, he said there's been a series of them, which I think need a much wider audience and greater attention. No, they need to be shredded and just get rid of and never produce another one. He said one particularly close to my heart, the Independence in Europe paper, really does go into the nuts and bolts of how we will accede into the European Union. I presume the first action would be to invade Spain, because that's the only way you're getting in, isn't it? Spain is never going to let you in. Belgium won't let you in. The Dutch won't let you in. France won't let you in. There's too many of them with a dog in this fight because they don't want an area of their country to go independent and then gain access. So they're not going to let you do it. Anyway, the team of 14 ministers was announced late on Wednesday evening after the new First Minister Sweeney made his cabinet appointments earlier in the day, and there was basically no change, except for Kate Forbes coming in at £112,000 a year, because, you know, she needs the money. Earlier this week, Sweeney said he would seek, with respect and courtesy, to persuade people of the case of independence. Well, you've been trying for 90 years, it kind of hasn't worked, you think it's going to happen now? No. Of course it isn't. He's mouthing what he's told to say. The same old platitudes and BS. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And it is. It's like the teacher from Charlie Brown, isn't it? He speaks, and 99% of the people just hear wah, 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 because he's got nothing to say. Minister for Equalities, Migration and Refugees, Emma Roddick, and Minister for Local Government Empowerment and Planning. God, they're making these things up, aren't they? Joe Fitzpatrick, a Humza Yousaf ally, have stepped down. They won't be missed. Nothing of value was lost. The Scottish Cabinet has 11 secretaries, including the First Minister. Oh, 11 secretaries. Must be writing a lot of letters then. And is supported by 14 ministers. This has reduced the size of the Scottish Government by 4 since the start of the year. Oh, well, that's good. Save a little bit of money. Got to pay for Lorna's wage. Not Lorna. God help us, no. Whoa. Got to pay for Kate's wage. Why did that come out as Lorna? She's well gone. Anyway, Richard Lockhead is Minister for Business, while Tom Arthur is Minister for Employment and Investment. Natalie Don, Minister for Children, Young People and the Promise. Whatever the promise is it the promise of children and young people? To the older members of the SNP. Who knows? And Graham Day is Minister for Higher and Further Education. Siobhan Brown, Minister for Victims, which she always plays at every opportunity. And Gillian Martin is Minister for Climate Action, still allowing private planes. Jim Farley is Minister for Agriculture and Connectivity. Well, not doing much of a job, is he? The Minister for Public Health and Women's Health, one and the same thing you'd think, is Jenny Minto. And Mary Todd is Minister for Social Care, Mental Wellbeing. Well, she's mental. And Sport. Has that woman ever sported in her life? She doesn't look the sort that's sported unless sprinting down the road for a Greggs. Christina McKelvey is Minister for Drugs and Alcohol Policy. Not drug policy, you understand. Just the other stuff. Just the good shit. And the Minister for Equalities, Colcab Stewart. Paul McLennan, Minister for Housing. He's the one with the hardest job because he's got to reverse all the cock-ups done by the Greens. In other words, he's going to spend the rest of the next 2 years trying to fix the mistakes. Oh well, that's how it is. What a bunch. Nothing much changes, does it? Certainly not in the SNP. Still led by an idiot. Still got idiots in their same jobs. Coming up. So there you go. You've got a Minister of Independence who can't deliver independence because you can't get a referendum. And if you had the referendum, you'd still lose it and couldn't get independence. He's paid all this money to sit there and make pretty brochures that nobody reads, and that's been his job for a year. It's easy money if you get it, isn't it? And then you get other people moaning when he's taken away from that job and actually has to go and have to do something real. It's a joke. The whole of the SNP are in it for a laugh, aren't they? They actually must be sitting there now taking the piss. What can we do? Let's create a new ministry. Ministry of Bubblegum, yeah. Ministry of Lies. Ministry of Misinformation. Jesus Christ. I tell you, they're chances, aren't they? Every single one of them. Anyway, I'll stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video, and I'll speak to you later. Bye.